Welcome back. So over 17 million people applied for the 370 a month social relief of distress grant, and that is in September alone. According to the South African Social Security Agency, this is an increase of more than 3 million people since September 2021. Joining us now to make sense of these numbers is Paseka Letsatsi, who is the spokesperson for SASSA. Paseka, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time for us. A ground up reporting that 17 million people applied for the SRD grant. Tell us about these figures.
Good morning, Aldrin, and thanks for having me. No, the figures are true. It's just above 17 million people who have submitted their application for the 370 grant. But I think I need to clarify quickly that an application does not mean approval. We have picked up in the past few months that there are chancers, there are fraudsters, and I'll explain later why they are fraudsters. There are obviously people who are trying to steal an identity of individuals who qualify. But we think for now, we may not read too much in terms of the numbers that have skyrocketed, because after we do the verification process to check if indeed an individual qualifies, the number might stay there, the number might go down, or the number might go up. But we think it's important for us to allow that particular verification processes to continue, because over the past months, we know that there will be 14 million people who apply, but only 12 or 11 million people will qualify to get a 370 grant.
Yeah, what's your current stat at when it comes to beneficiaries that have actually met all of the criteria and are currently receiving the SRD grant?
We are basically just above 10 million of people who normally would qualify. And so the numbers of 17 million do not necessarily scare or surprise us, because we have made that analysis. And I think maybe in the next 2-3 weeks, we can come back here to Newzroom and have an engagement. We would see that the numbers would have changed.
Okay, so let's deal with the question around the fraudsters that you're picking up. What's happening there? What's the modus operandi?
You know, Aldrin, people don't have smartphones. Majority of people who apply don't have smartphones. And the problem is that we have experienced over the past months where we gave people the leverage. We know that people lose their phones. We know that sometimes people want to change their banking details. So we gave people the authority that if you lose your phone, you are at liberty to change your number. Secondly, if you want to change from bank X to bank Y, it is your decision. However, the fraudsters identify that particular problem. Paseka applies for the 370, qualifies, and what people do then, they simply go into the system and change the cell number, so that when the money gets deposited, it goes into their phone and they go and withdraw the money. When a beneficiary wants to go and withdraw the money, or when they inquire, the beneficiary is told that last month you changed the cell numbers. But we came with the mechanisms, which was basically very controversial, or in the eyes of the public, or we got a pushback from the public, because we said it's important for people to do the facial recognition if they want to change their cell numbers. Unfortunately, people said, but we don't have smartphones. But we said it's important for us then to roll out the machines in our offices, so that people, if they don't have access to the smartphones, they can come to our offices and do the facial recognition. We also understand, lastly, Aldrin, that some people's faces go through metamorphosis. You'd find that the way you looked when you were 20 years, you look differently when you are 30 years. So there are those particular challenges which we are facing, but we are addressing them.
Yeah, when you say that they're able to go into the system and change the numbers, what do you mean? Who are they who are able to go into the system? And does this involve any SASSA officials at all for this to be carried out?
No, it is an individual. For an example, you get marked on Saturday, you lose your phone, or anything happens to your phone, and you go and change your phone number. We gave people the liberty to go into the system and say, I want to change my number. And secondly, if there are problems between you and your bank of your choice, it is your choice to say, I no longer want to bank with this bank, I want to change. However, those two issues gave the fraudsters the idea that we can go into the system and say, I want to change my number, and therefore they put their cell number and they remove yours, right? And once they do that, when we deposit money, it reflects to them and they get money instead of the rightful beneficiary. But we have stopped that because we said, if you want to change your phone number, if you want to change your banking details, do the facial recognition so that we are aware, because we have a connectivity with Department of Home Affairs. So if you do if you do that, the facial verification, we're able to bounce the information with Home Affairs to actually verify that indeed this person is the rightful owner of the 370 grant.
Okay, let's quickly go back to the applications, around 17.2 million applications that you have received. I see the highest concentration coming out of KwaZulu-Natal at 4.4 million. And this is followed by, Limpopo, Gauteng rather, 3.2 million, Limpopo at 2.3 million. Would these numbers in terms of application be consistent with the numbers that you have when it comes to the ones that have been confirmed that indeed they do meet the criteria and became beneficiaries, meaning that with the highest concentration of SRD payouts come out of KwaZulu-Natal and then followed by Gauteng?
That's where it leads to our suspicion, Aldrin. I'm on air now. I may not disclose certain things that we have picked up or what is it that we are going to do, because when I say it, obviously the fraudsters are watching. I'm sure they are watching the news now. They'll then be able to do whatever they want to do. But it raises suspicion that we have seen over the past 6 months, people who apply in Gauteng, the number might be sitting on 2 million or just a little bit above 2 million. But suddenly in September, it jumps from 2 million to 3.5 million. Where are these people coming from and so forth? But we don't want to make an assumption in terms of why the numbers have jumped. Our processes are very clear. They will definitely be able to pick these situations up. That is why I'm saying perhaps we can have an appointment with you in the next 4 weeks or 5 weeks when we have taken everybody through the verification processes, and I can assure you these numbers will go down.
Okay, and then in terms of the so-called fraudsters, do you know of anyone who has been arrested?
We are, when we pick up this information, Aldrin, we pass it to the law enforcement agencies. We work very closely with them so that they are able to track and arrest people who are trying to defraud the system. However, some of them, they are just chances. The system kicks them out because the system is so advanced such that you can't penetrate it. But those who try to commit fraud, they get reported and they get arrested, and the police would then deal with those particular issues and give us a report in terms of the success rate.
Do you know of anyone that has been arrested? Do you have a figure?
We don't have the figure currently, Aldrin, but we can safely get that particular information from the South African Police Services and share it with you.
Okay, then thank you. I'd appreciate that figure as well. Let's move on to this one, the increase in social grants for special categories of grants, including the old age grants that increased from the 1st of October. I see that a lot of people have actually targeted and attacked SASSA for this 10 Rand increase. Just explain, and maybe an opportunity for our viewers to understand where this 10 Rand comes from and that the money doesn't necessarily come from SASSA.
I think you have hit it there, Aldrin. Remember, this is the budget which comes from Treasury and basically goes to the Department of Social Development, which passes through to the South African Social Security Agency to implement. The South African Social Security Agency, its mandate is to administer the distribution of social grants. So those 10 rands which have been implemented is as per the budget that is available. Yes, I know that people may complain that it's 10 rand is too little. However, you may find that they had to go and find 10 billion somewhere to make sure that the increase are effected. So fortunately or unfortunately, ours is to make sure that we distribute those particular grants effectively to everybody who qualifies. But this is the money which has been allocated to us by the National Treasury.
Yeah, and then also the issue around with the banks, because there's always this run that once a date has been allocated, that on this particular date, this is when the elderly people will receive this grants, the people with disabilities, and then also the children grant will be allocated. And you get this entire rush that happens on the day. What's the advice from SASSA?
The advice that we can give to beneficiaries of social grants is that your money is very safe in your account. You do not necessarily have to go on the first day to withdraw it, because one, people get marked, and once you are marked, the money is gone. But secondly, Aldrin, we have deliberately taken a decision that we start paying the old age grant, then we come with a disability grant, and on the third day, we pay child support grant and any other grant which is available. But this money will be in your account. You can transact using your card. You don't have to withdraw all of it and go and put it at home, all your money, because anybody who can put their hands on your money, the money will be finished. But we can assure the beneficiaries of social grant that their money is safe in the account. They don't have to rush and withdraw all of it.
Thank you so much for your time. That is Paseka Letsatsi, who's the spokesperson for SASSA. Still to come here on the AM report. When we come back, Andy Mahamba will bring you the latest from the world of sports. Stay tuned.